Okay, here we go. Recording. Okay. All right. Now I'll share the screen. Okay, here we go. Can you see it? One should show up, but sometimes it takes some time. There we go.
Oh yeah, I can see it
Okay.
now.
Okay. So I think today's topic we're going to discuss, what is the best timing to buy leaps, right? So first things first, right? We want to look at the market, right? And generally we want to look at the weekly and the monthly, right? So if you look at the monthly first, right, you can see for the most part, as long as everything is, hunky dory, which means,
Yeah. No red
long,
histograms, no
yeah,
fading blues.
no fading blues, right? We are far enough away from the midline, right? Then generally we can make our decisions based on the weekly, right? It's only when things have been going down for a long time that we see the red histograms that we start making our decisions on the monthly. Right. So yeah, looking at it here, right, starting off, um, you know, notice this right here, right? So this we of course had the red histograms with the yellow
It's a
transition.
tariff scare.
Yeah, that was a tariff scare, right? Now if you look at this particular pattern right here, right, it's what is called a thrusting or a piercing line. Hold on, let me look that up here on the
And these are references right from the beginner's guide, right?
yeah, they are from the beginner's guide, the beginner's course,
Oh.
right? So if you look at this, right, this is what you call a meeting lines pattern, right? So where you're in this situation, you're going down, 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 it's bearish, and then suddenly you get this kind of pattern, right?
Mm,
And this is similar to what happens when you're going upward, right?
mm.
Now, if you look at this, this is kind of a more, I guess a stronger version of that same pattern, right? Where, okay, you've been going down and then suddenly you get this one, right? Where, you kind of go down below, right? And then you go back in to the range of the previous session,
Almost like an inside
right?
bar in a way.
Yeah, exactly, kind of, right? Except it does kind of go outside the range first before coming back inside, right? And actually, interesting thing, the term for an inside bar is also called a harami, right?
Mm.
Depending on how small that inside bar is.
It's like piercing the
Okay.
armor in a sense.
Yes. So if you look here, right, this is one. So if you see something like this
Ah,
happening, right, that is a potential, right? You could
piercing.
probably buy like one contract or something like that, right? And then when you see the confirmation with the
Get,
yellow,
get the full confirmation, yeah.
yes, right? So this is
And
now,
that
by the way,
and
this is just for the
and
SPY.
that yeah, that yellow histogram is pretty much gold.
Yes.
You know.
And if you look here, this is that inside bar, right? So you went down, you hit the support, you get the inside bar, right? You're still in red, right? But you could probably either take a chance right there or wait for the next candle and say, hey, if it goes above, take it,
Yeah, that's your second confirmation, and
right? So now here's the thing, right? One of the big things with leaps, right? Um, when we use it buying the weekly chart, right? What we want to do, right, always is we want to be at a support, and but if it also coincides with the bottom Bollinger, that's so much the better.
yeah, because then you
So
get
support,
the
mhm, yes,
spring action from the
right,
Bollinger.
exactly, right. So you get three things: you got support, you got bottom Bollinger, and you got a pattern, right?
Snapback. Yeah.
Right, right, like one of these, right? Like a uh, harami
Piercing.
pattern or a
Yeah.
piercing lines pattern,
It
right?
could be inside bar,
Yep, inside bar, right?
or
Now
it could
sometimes
be
you even get one of these.
could be bullish engulfing.
Yes, exactly, right? And you can kind of see it here too, right? Now that particular one, I think, was kind of a morning star pattern,
Mm.
right? So it's like, okay, it's red, red, red. It's going down to the bottom Bollinger, and then you see this. Now maybe you don't buy it exactly there,
Mm.
right? But maybe
But you,
you
but
see this, and then you see the
you
confirmation. You
yeah,
can buy
yeah,
it then, right?
you could mark it as end of trend using trend
Yes.
lines.
See, sometimes people are not comfortable buying right at the pattern, right?
Yeah.
Like where the
Or the
pattern
or
kind
the
of becomes
or
obvious.
or sometimes they might not see it because they're so
Hmm.
used to seeing
Yeah,
bearish news, and they kind of like turn off the signals, like they don't see it anymore. So
exactly. So you
yeah.
you got to be on the lookout all the time, right? And also, right, you shouldn't just be looking for the individual candlestick patterns. You should also be looking for,
Was it like a
like the wedges.
trend break wedges?
Yeah, exactly, right? So you can kind of see it here, right? You're getting an expanding triangle too,
Mm. Yeah, I love the
right?
weekly lines because they're so
Hmm.
powerful.
Yes,
The weekly lines are pretty much your brick walls,
exactly.
and then your monthlies is like
Yeah.
your steel walls.
Yep. Now,
Daily is like
mhm,
drywall.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? I mean, look here too, right? You got an expanding triangle and you broke out, right?
Oh, that's a clean
Yep.
breakout candle.
See, and here too, we got expanding triangle, and here too, you got an expanding triangle to the downside and a breakout. So if you're not comfortable with the individual candle itself, right, you could say, hey, look, it broke out of the thing,
Yeah.
and we got a yellow, right? So maybe you buy on the confirmation. Now, once you buy, right, there are two things you have to do. You have to set a stop, right? And you have to set a target, right? Usually, my target on a weekly chart is going to be the top Bollinger, right? So if I
Mm.
buy somewhere here, I'm going to sell off somewhere here. If I can afford to buy more than a certain number of contracts, like let's say I can buy 5 contracts. Now, SPY options, especially SPY leaps, are going to be very expensive, as are
Yeah.
any options
In
that you
in
would
in
buy.
in index, yeah.
Yeah, not just the index, right? Anything that's high level, right?
Yeah, it
Like,
could be like Microsoft,
right,
Google.
Microsoft or any of these, right? But once you can afford to do so, right, you can sell, if you buy, say, 5 options, right, you could sell 3 or 4 of them right at the top here and then keep the last one or two as runners,
Runner, yeah. And the rest of the account
right?
cash,
Yes.
you know.
Right. So, I mean, a lot of people would say, you should buy, anywhere, right? Now, generally, if the market is bullish, that will work, right?
Yeah.
But if it's doing the sideways motion thing here, right, you're going to
You're
have
gonna
your
get
money
trapped.
tied up for a while.
You're gonna get decay.
Yes. If you're buying options, right? Now, if you're buying
Couple
the
of scares.
shares, maybe, right?
Yeah, you'll probably be
But you're
okay.
still going to have your money tied up and the money going down. So you're going to have to wait through it.
Yeah.
Now, instead, see what I would rather wait through is this stuff,
Yeah.
right? Where, okay, I buy here, right? And then I'm going to be
It's
like, okay,
strong.
as long as I don't hit my stop, and as long as I don't hit my target, I do nothing.
Market is going higher and higher. Yeah.
Yes, right? So until I reach that top Bollinger, and until or it goes below and closes below the bottom here, I don't care. In between, whatever can happen,
Yeah.
right? So then as soon as it hits that top Bollinger, then I get out, right? So we can look at a couple of examples, right? So Henry, I remember one of your favorites, right? Recent favorite was
Visa.
Visa, right? So you take a look at Visa, right? If you remember, this was also that Iran war situation right here, right? And if you look at, you know, early 2025, right? You can also see this happening, right?
The tariff scare. Yeah.
Yep, this was the tariffs, right? So you can see right here, right? You got a piercing line, right? And at the same time, the SPY was also starting to trend up, so you would have definitely received help,
Yeah.
right? So in this situation, what I do is I set my stop below this area and I say my target is here. So, even
Top target being the top Bollinger.
correct,
So
right? So if you look at this, right, even if I bought it in this area, right, it's 332, what's that? 366, 367. As soon as it
that's
hits that
nice.
area, 40
Nice.
points within four
Yeah.
weeks, get out,
Yeah. Could be one contract, doesn't have to be 10.
right?
Yeah.
Could be one if it even if it's one contract, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, depends on how much you have available and how the size of your account,
Yeah.
right? And then look over here, right? This was the Iran war situation, right? You can see Visa went down, 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 right? And then you got the Harami, bullish Harami, right here,
Uh
right? Now, again, if you're not comfortable buying it there, right? And look, it's a downward wedge,
oh
right? So
yeah.
maybe, hey, you don't like the Harami, right?
You could
Because
take
it
the
could be
trend.
a fake out,
You could
right?
take the trend break. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You could just say, all right, take the trend break, right? And then
Yeah.
just let it stay until it hits the top, right? So if you took the trend break, you would have gotten it at 300 something, right? And then as soon as it hit the top Bollinger, 330, 330 something, get out.
30 easy points. Yeah.
Yeah,
No sweat.
right. And then keep a runner if you like,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Since it's squeezing, you can keep a runner.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you see now what's happening, right? And the reason I got out of the Visa call myself,
Oh,
we're
there's a
seeing an upward
dividend.
wedge.
Dividend is running out of gas. Oh
Yep,
yeah.
dividends running out of gas. Plus, look, it's
Um,
a upward wedge.
we we also do have a BPSPX
Mhm.
70 and the high being 80. So just
Yes,
not a whole lot of road to
and the
run.
weekly VIX, right?
Yeah.
So if we look at the weekly VIX, right, look at that. It's actually touching the bottom Bollinger. Look, it hit the bottom Bollinger. I'm not
Yeah.
even saying practically.
It's warning. Yeah.
Yeah,
Warning
and
mode is on.
that upward squeeze is still going up,
Yeah.
right? Now you remember, even if it approaches close by, right, to the bottom Bollinger, like there, right,
Yeah.
we probably will need a number for that, right? But for now, we will say, hey, if it's close enough to that, and you see that upward weekly squeeze, it's probably not a good thing. Now, again, that does not mean that it's going to fully reverse, right? I mean, if you look at this situation, it had 3 weeks maybe of downtrending on the SPY on the SPX
Yeah.
before it continued back up,
Yeah.
right? Now, what happened here, right? We got a lot of sideways action. Now, this kind of situation is not good for options,
Yeah.
right? Because the volatility is very low, right? And you also see here, right? We were approaching the bottom Bollinger again,
Yeah.
right? So this in this situation, maybe you had a few weeks. So if you had, you know, long-term positions that were profitable, um, a situation like this is where you would start, selling off,
Yeah.
right? But again, this is kind of a digression here, right? We're talking about long-term leaps, right? So when it comes to long-term leaps, you want that VIX to be above the weekly Bollinger, right? And you want that long-term downtrend, and then you want to see, a pattern in development, right? Either this kind of Harami thing, a downward wedge, a breakout, or something like that, and then buy it, and then wait for it to hit that top Bollinger and then get out. Top weekly Bollinger, right?
Yeah.
Because that distance is pretty high.
Yeah. I like the spy breakout and
Mhm.
it made me consider that I want to dive back into long terms, like
Yes.
like as far as like 401k and stuff like that. But after seeing the
Now,
VIX, it lets me know that hey, I can wait because Santa
I
Claus
want
rally is
I want to
not till
refer you to
October.
something,
So yeah.
right? Look at this. This was a SPY breakout of similar move,
Oh yeah,
right?
just
You
kind of
see that,
like the struggling of a breakout.
right? So it did break out, but then look what happened. It just went
It
sideways for a
just
while
sides
before it dropped
sideways
down,
and then a sell off.
right? Now the VIX bottom Bollinger thing, right? it happened here, right? Again,
It can
this area,
start. It can be the domino effect. You pair it with some
right?
bad news, and then you'll get your explosive downward
Exactly.
move. It's true. Yeah.
So it could just be a small downward move, right? Such as this, or maybe like that, right?
There's there's better times to go big on the long
That's what I'm
on
saying.
the long positions. Yeah.
Now you could do plenty of short-term trades here if you like,
Yeah.
right? However, anything that you
Yeah.
do a trade on must be closer to the support and to the bottom Bollinger rather
Mm.
than, so if you look at Visa, right, one of the big problems is that it's at a resistance and it's at the top Bollinger, right?
Yeah. It makes me think too, like midterm election year, and
Yes,
not expecting a whole lot from that either. So a lot
exactly.
of things that can go against us.
Now, in this situation, right, this would be okay to do a short-term trade on,
Yeah. That
right?
one looks like a break in trend and possible recovery. Oh
Yes,
yeah, I would like to see the
right?
candles go in the buy zone.
Yeah, exactly, right? But now I would not do leaps on this. I'm absolutely not, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a long-term trade on this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And you can
it needs to
see,
it's a double bottom, but it needs to prove itself, to make it
right?
just because it's a double bottom doesn't mean it's going to
See,
go
look at
up.
this
Yeah.
descending triangle, right? Can you see that pattern right there?
Mm.
Right?
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Yeah, down.
See?
And then
Descending.
you get the breakdown. Yeah.
Yep. And then the breakdown, right? Well, actually, I don't need to draw the line at all. Look, boom, boom, breakdown, kept going. Doesn't have to do this, right? A lot of times it can just go down and go sideways for a while, right? But in this situation, it broke down and then kept going,
Yeah.
right? Before it shot back up. But the overall trend is still down, right? Like if you're looking at the major trend here, right? It is still down, but you can do some quick, short term trades here, right? If you see like this situation, right, where you see that harami, right? That's still something that could work, right? And here it's not quite a harami, right? But maybe it's
Yeah.
something, right,
Yeah.
that you could take. But like I said, I would just stay away from things like this.
How does the monthly look? I like some monthly energy on this one too. Would help me be more convinced too.
We can check that, right? So look,
Oh, if
down.
you give me a yellow, if you give me a yellow, I'll give it a try. I
Yeah,
would.
that might work, right? So it does seem like the downtrend is stopped, at least temporarily, in
Yeah,
this
this could
area, right? You can
this could
see it
be
a little
fixed.
better.
Yeah, it might be done for Netflix being the redheaded stepchild, which is what's happening
Yes,
here. Yeah,
quite possible,
I
right?
mean,
With the weekly, right? It's a little harder
Tesla
to see.
goes through the its redheaded stepchild phase,
Yes,
and we just never seen it happen on Netflix before.
right. It's a potential double bottom, right?
Yeah,
If you look at, and I think you could see it better on the monthly, right? See, goes down, boom, comes back up,
yeah,
boom, stronger second bottom, right? So now we have to see if it'll break out, right? So if it goes past this line right here, then there is a good chance, right? We could just say, hey, let's go here, take it up to the top Bollinger, get out,
yeah,
right? So with the monthly, you can see it a little better, right? The bird's eye view, so to speak,
yeah, yeah.
right? So what else shall I look at? Uh, soft, the good one, right? And you can actually see this one was indeed a double bottom, right? Um, but again, look at this, Henry. Rami,
Oh, that one's clean.
right? So what we do
Keep
is we just take it up to the top Bollinger, get out,
top Bollinger is safe, and then yeah.
right? So
Now we're way outside the Bollinger. Now I don't want to touch this thing. It moved
nope.
too fast for me to
I
even
actually sold most of the
react to it.
position. I'm down to like 250 shares
Yeah,
of that MSFU, right?
yeah.
And you can see actually it's going down some more. So I might, I'm just watching it for this week because see we're seeing a downward hammer here, right? So because look, past downward hammers have been, pretty telling, right? I mean, some of them just go down, but then this one looked like a double top. So we got a double top hammer here and a double top, hammer there before it kind of broke down, right? So definitely something to think about,
Yeah.
right? Like, but again, whenever you're buying long term, right? Best time to buy would be at the bottom and preferably when the market is doing a similar thing, right? Now, again, right, these opportunities don't arrive all that often,
Yeah.
right? But that's why you got to be on the lookout, right? So if you look here, see that bullish engulfing. This was after tariffs,
Yeah.
right? So, okay, maybe you're not comfortable here, right? And again, you can see kind of that expanding triangle look here. So maybe, hey, you're not comfortable there. All right. So I just wait for it to do the breakout,
Yeah.
right? And buy on the yellow squeeze here, right? And then just take it up to the top, right? So if you bought it anywhere in this region, even worst case scenario, you bought it at the top 390, right? Right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. You got the nice
And
yellow,
you
and then
got
you
about
kind
40 points.
yeah, a lot of writing the Bollinger. You might have got out sometime on the
Hmm.
fourth candle or so, and then maybe
Yep.
I guess what one of my rules of thumbs, if I have
Hmm.
that runner, I won't get out of it until I see the blue.
Yeah.
If I see that blue histogram, then it's like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
that was a good enough ride. Yeah.
Yeah, that can also work, right? Like especially if you see that, right? Now, what I might do is, okay, I buy five, right? Sell four off, and then leave that runner until the blue,
Yeah.
right? For the squeeze, right? That's a possibility too,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, best time for leaps, right, would be support bottom
Mm.
Bollinger, and you see a
and
you
and
see a
and
pattern, and you're looking at the squeeze too.
and then or same recovery of an index.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. So, anything else we want to say about this, right? I think this is a good
Um.
short video here,
Yeah. Yeah. That
right?
works.
So let
Just
me.
warning on the VIX,
Mhm.
and then SPY could chug along, could chug sideways. We could reach
That's the
higher
biggest
highs.
problem right now,
So
right? So if you
so
look at the SPY, right, we are at the top Bollinger here too,
yeah.
right? Does that mean it's going to come back? I mean, look, past experience has shown it can ride the top Bollinger, but you have to remember this
Mm.
also had
It
momentum
it took
from
yeah,
the squeeze, right?
yeah, building.
So, like whenever that kind of thing happens, and you can see here too, right? It rides the top Bollinger, but you have to remember
Mm.
momentum is the key. Right
Yeah.
now, the momentum is not
Yeah.
in our favor,
Yeah.
right? So this could be one of those potential exhaustion moves,
Yeah.
right? At least, let's put it this way. Right now, I'm not very comfortable with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we
Looking
let the setup come to you rather than forcing the trade.
exactly, right? So if it's here, right, this is where people get greedy, right? And say, oh, you know what? The market broke out, right? It's time to buy, right? Now, okay, fine. Maybe you're right. What makes
Yeah.
me uncomfortable is the VIX hitting that bottom Bollinger. We have seen past experience with that, right? That causes drops to happen, right?
Yeah.
You can see right here, right? Soon afterwards, there's a drop. Now, again, right? It could be, it looks like a blip, right? Sometimes, but when you're in it, it's like, oh my God, the market is going to crash,
Yeah.
right? That's when Kramer starts to say, sell, 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 sell everything, guys, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, right, I'm not very comfortable in these kind of situations buying, new kind of leaps, right? I mean, if you see here, actually here we had quite a lot of time, right?
Yep.
See, we had that, right? And it kept going up, and then we got the weekly Bollinger to to show up,
Yeah.
right? You can see it
Yeah.
here too, right? Hit the bottom Bollinger, right? We had time, right?
Yeah.
But then look,
Yeah.
oh, down for a while, right? So whenever it hits that bottom Bollinger, right, it's not that it's going to reverse. I mean, these don't look like big reversals, but we are seeing these after the fact. Remember
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
right? While you're in it, it feels like, oh my God, this is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Now, for a comparison, right, take a look. Top is 4120, bottom is 3859.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's a 300 point SPY drop or SPX drop, sorry. SPY would have been 30,
Yeah.
right? That, when you're in it, it seems pretty bad, right? Um, right. And again, you can see here, we hit the bottom Bollinger, and then look, it went from 4,200 something to 3,500 something, right? This is 700 points of drop right there,
Yeah.
right? So it's not that, again, right, the size of the drops are one thing, right? But the fact that it is going to drop or even maybe just go sideways, right, is the next thing. So if you're looking for big, um, wealth building moves, right,
Yeah.
the time to buy would not be when that VIX is hitting that bottom Bollinger because at that point things have gone up pretty high in many
Yeah.
cases,
Yeah.
right? So if you look at that, right, that is you can see it's now back to that, right? Where look, you got this, you got a big run up, right? And now you're hitting that bottom Bollinger, right? Now again, right, no one is trying to predict anything here, right? Because again, it could go sideways, right? But even a sideways market, right, is not even a sideways market is not a good time to buy, long options that are
No.
going to
No.
explode,
Yeah,
right?
we did switch to a SPY by the dip environment though, so
Yes, yes, yes,
that
yes. So
that that
but that is still short term,
it might give us some short-term
right?
bounces
Yeah,
though.
it's not going to be a
Yeah.
long term. And even if you were to do that, right? Let's go back to the SPY, right? You're For any short term trades, you're not going to be looking at the weekly, right?
Yeah.
If you were to do a short-term trade, right, you would have probably bought it at either the weekly averages, or if you went to the daily, right, you could just say, hey, let's buy the daily averages,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? In this situation, it was ADX kind of orange, right? Then it went red again here, and before going green,
Yeah.
right? With the daily, it changes too much. That's why you do short-term trades there,
Yeah.
right? So in this situation too, right? If you're just looking at the daily for short-term trades, this is not the time to do it either, right? You would just wait for it to go down and hit this line. And you
Yeah.
could get a few out of this, even spreads, right? You could get a few more out of this, right?
Yeah.
There's still some time, right? If history is any indication,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But again, when that VIX hits the bottom Bollinger on the weekly chart, start taking your profits quicker,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So if you're seeing like this, right? Look, it's going sideways. The averages may catch up. It may hit the averages and then might break out again. That's a
Yeah.
possibility, right? It happened here. Look, see, wham, wham, came close here to the averages, then wham again,
Yeah.
right? Again, these are short-term trading times, right? Uh, so this was around April to May 2026, right? If we go back to the weekly, right? April, May 2026, right? So yeah, look, it was
Yeah.
riding that Bollinger, right? So, look, it went down, hit that support, right? It didn't. may not have quite gotten to the weekly 21, right? But you could still use the daily because you're like, hey, look, hunky dory on the weekly, right? So now I go down to the daily. If the daily averages are hit and we're hunky dory on the weekly and we got that ADX green, buy that dip,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I mean, here we can still consider ourselves hunky dory because we're still far enough away from the midline,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
right?
true.
But again, a couple of problems. We are at the top Bollinger on the weekly and we are at the top Bollinger on the daily,
Yeah.
right? So you must ask
Well,
yourself, is this
it's
the right
it's
time?
a, it's working against us. Yeah.
Those are
It's
the
like
things, right?
rubber
So
band going against you. Yeah.
if that ADX still stays green, right, and you get down to the, see, like right here, look, we had, I mean, this one was, I think, kind of an orange ADX situation, right? And, oh, sorry, this is weekly. Oh, interesting. We are on an orange on the weekly.
Oh,
Fascinating.
on SPX.
Yeah, SPX. Yeah.
Oh, we were green before.
Yeah, but look at it now, right? It's
No
14.
way.
Hold on. Let me check something. Let me refresh
No,
that.
check on my side.
Yeah. Maybe it's the information might be old. Yeah. Okay. Okay. There we go. That's okay. So that's daily, right? So you can see, right? If you come back and hit that 21, right? Um,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
SPX has been orange for a minute.
yep, on the
Yeah.
weekly, right?
Yeah, weekly, yeah.
So
On the daily we just got green, so good for
yeah.
short term.
So look, if we look at this, see reversion to the mean, right? When it goes below, right? So we are hitting that top Bollinger, right? The RSI is also high, right? There's some possibility for a pullback here,
Yeah.
right? So keep in mind, right, that whenever you are buying something, right, you always have to remember the old, adage for a trader, right? Traders buy cheap and sell expensive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to buy anything, right, you want to buy it either near this point or near that point, right? And not just use the candles, right? But kind of, because here's the other thing, right? Candlestick and um, Western signal interpretations, right? Uh, can be dicey even in the best of times, right?
Yeah.
So it really helps not just to have that um, you know that idea on how to interpret the patterns here, right? So if you look here on the weekly chart for the SPY again, right? It's great. Look, so you kind of got a harami here, right?
Yeah.
And you got it at support, right? Great, right? But maybe you say, hey, I don't like that because I don't know, right? Now, sure, you can also set a stop here and limit your losses if you did buy there. But some people are not comfortable buying there, right? I might even say I'm not comfortable buying there, right? So then I wait for the next candle and I might buy either there, or if I'm really risk averse, I wait for the yellow,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's really up to the person with the risk tolerance, right? So using the squeeze, right, as well as the price action can can really help you because these things can confirm each other,
Yeah.
right? You see how that that kind of thing can play out,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So keep in mind, right? Again, right? Pattern interpretations, right? Patterns are contextual,
Yeah.
right? So they may be, they may not always be obvious in the moment, and that's fine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, if sometimes you need to see what happens after before you say, oh yeah, I can see how I can see this working.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes the confirmation takes the form of a breakout from a range, from a trend, right? Or from a range, right? Breakout to the up or the downside, right? Or indicators can tell you as well, right, what is happening,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the squeeze is not the only indicator we use, right? We can also use the RSI, the ADX, Bollinger percent. Notice this particular situation, right? You see this thing hit the bottom, right? So if you wanted to do a short term trade, right, this might have been a good um, you know situation to buy it, right? If you were feeling brave. Now I wasn't. I'm to confess, I'm not brave in this situation because this was a red ADX right here in that area,
Yeah. Yeah. The
right?
the easy thing is just to stay out when you see
Now,
that.
in the interest of full disclosure, right, I did buy a SPY call when it came close to that bottom Bollinger,
Mm.
and I just wanted to see what would happen,
Yeah, you could
right?
get bounced.
Right. And we did get the bounce, and I actually made a profit on the call. Now, it would have been a heck of a lot more had I held it up to the top Bollinger,
Mm.
right? But that was not a good idea, right? The
In
only
and out.
time, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, when
right,
you have red ADX, you want to be in and out.
yeah. If it's red ADX, right, just you know, don't even try it, or you trade to the downside instead, right?
Yeah.
And again, keep the stop loss, right? So if you did trade to the downside here, your stop loss would be above this point, right? If it went back
Yeah.
above the averages, get out, you lose only a small amount of money, and you're good to go,
Yeah.
right? But again, these are short term trades. And I think, Henry, you and I are not as fond of short term trades as we are of long term trades, right? These
No,
are
no.
situations where we would rather just do spreads and collect dividends from,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Waiting for just the
yes,
time where you can kind of double down, kind of raise the pot kind of
yes.
situation. It's like no need on calling when you're holding
Hmm.
like a 5-7 or a low
Yes,
pair, two fives. You can't do much with that. So
correct. And if you look at this, right, this is probably these are situations where I would be more confident in holding longer. And not that's why I like the weekly chart more, right? Because once you get momentum on these higher time frame charts,
yeah,
they are much better,
yeah, yeah,
right? More they give you more confidence,
yeah,
right? And if you get the ADX to be green on the weekly chart, right? Again, so much the better,
yeah,
right? And right now it's orange,
yeah.
right? So my thing is okay if it's green, right? Anytime that the averages are hit, right? This is another area you could potentially say, oh yeah, I like this, right?
Yeah.
So this last one was in 2024, right? You can see right there. See, I think it was up to October 2024, right? Or so. It was above, above 20, right? So Henry, right? Make sure you make a note of this because you want to check the weekly ADX as much for long-term trades.
Weekly ADX.
Yes,
For well, because
for SPY.
this one's probably still orange, right? Or you do mean
Yeah,
or this
no, no.
might,
Now, right now it's orange, but this is
but
back then, right?
it is tapped to green for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it's green, right, and you see the pullback, right, to the averages, right? Great. You can buy that and then
Yeah.
let it go, right? Um, So and it tends to work a little better here because you get longer momentum times too,
Yeah,
right? So yeah, yeah, I think that's all we have for today,
that's good. Nice,
right?
nice update.
So
Thanks, Anand.
yeah, let me uh, shut off the recording and